That one hurt. Yeah, you don't want to take a prickly pear to the butt. It hurts.
I mean, there's not many things you want to take to the butt.
Welcome, everybody, to the Headliner.app, a fan-based podcast focusing on Montana State athletics. We're two dudes named Ryan from the state of Washington talking about our dear Montana State. We hope you enjoy it. All right, welcome back, Bobcat fans. Thanks for joining us on another episode, another season, the 7th season of the Headliner.app. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Foley. I'm joined by my co-host, Ryan Thornburg. We are the Ryans of the Headliner, the Montana State affiliate of the Big Sky Podcast Network. And again, we have this sweet sponsor in Gear Up Sports, a youth sports platform focused on solving the uniform and apparel headaches for coaches. If you're a youth or high school coach, need uniforms or player packs, fall's coming up. Contact them at gearupwithus.com and make sure to mention the R&R Catcast. And I do believe, Thorny, our gear store, our merch store is still up over at Gear Up Sports. And so if you want to get some R&R Catcast gear, you can purchase that over there. But we're back, man. Kicking off the 2024-2025 season. I can't believe it's here.
Can't believe it's here. It's been a long time. It's good to be back. And Foley, I just want to say, you are an audio engineer's worst nightmare. You know that? We were like setting the levels before we record. And as soon as you hit the record button, you talk like twice as loud. Like out of nowhere. Just boom in the mic. Like, well, that's going to blow out the... blow out the audio. I had to use like the declipping tool. Yeah, but man, it's good to be back. It's good to have these problems because it means we're back.
I just get so excited. The energy was coming through, man. It's a new season.
I gotta just keep that in mind. It's been a while. I gotta all right, I'll make it sound quiet because I know as soon as he starts recording, he's gonna get twice as loud. So I forgot about that.
Well, all right. Well, that's your problem, not mine.
That's true. That is true.
All right. Well, hey, listener, thanks for joining us. If you've never been to the R&R or have never listened to the R&R, Ryan and I, we're going on our 7th season, and I keep coming back to that because it's wild to think about that, but it is what it is. We're happy you're here. We're just two fans, two dads calling it as we see it from the state of Washington, two proud alumni of Montana State, and we're so ready to get Montana this 2024 football season started off because, man, I think all of us are just dying for some football right now. It's coming, and it can't come soon enough.
It's been a weird offseason. We kind of talked a little bit about this, kind of the general hunger for content. I haven't had a lot, and I know I've talked to other Bobcat fans who are kind of the same boat. We don't need to go into that. That's probably a whole different conversation, but all I know is now the VIM is back. Fall camp has started officially in July, which is bonkers. But here we are. It's exciting stuff. I got the VIM.
I've caught it too, man. Montana State's been putting out 406 Sports over there has been putting out a ton of interviews. I think they blasted all of the media day or first day practice ones. There's probably like 9 content videos that you could watch. All these different players, seniors coming in, talking about Montana State, what it took to get them there. And man, I spent a good 2 hours watching all those videos. Just excited. But what we got going on today, let's talk about that. So let's give a little show rundown and we'll get into it. Today, the episode is really going to be about the media poll predictions. Okay, so Ryan and I are going to go through the teams. We're going to talk about the preseason media poll that came out at the Big Sky Conference kickoff, and then we'll compare what we predict against that media poll. Before that, we'll get into the preseason all-conference teams that came out. There was the Big Sky teams, and then there was the Stats Perform FCS team, the Craig Haley vote, essentially. So we'll talk about the Montana State guys that got on that team. And then we were going to talk about the strength of schedule as well. So I have a little algorithm I've been doing in the last couple of years on predictive strength of schedule and how that looks. We'll tell you who has the easiest schedule through the conference slate and who has a hardest schedule in the conference slate and all the teams in between. And then we'll get into some Golden Coolie questions.
Man, Sounds great. Nailed it. I'm excited.
All right. But before we do that, we have to talk about what's in our golden coolie.
What's in your golden coolie? Yeah, I was waiting to open it. I've been drinking my pregame beer, which is a Michelob Ultra. I went to Montana a couple weeks ago, and when I do that, and when I drive back, I came back with about $120 worth of beer. I have the Prickly Pear Pale Ale from Lewis and Clark.
Oh,
One of my favorite classics. I mean, I don't need to say anything about this beer. If you're from Montana, you know about it. It's delicious pale ale.
man. Great pale ale. I once had a prickly pear up my butt one time as a kid. I was sliding down a gully
That's a story.
in the little belts. Yeah, doing a little hike and come on some shale, sliding down and whoop. Yeah, stood up pretty fast. That one hurt. Yeah, you don't want to take a prickly pear to the butt. It hurts.
I mean, there's not many things you want to take to the butt. But prickly pear, definitely on the worst end of that scale.
Oh, that's a good one. Started it off
Ew.
hot. I like it. All right. Let's see. I got my camping beer. Yeah, we've been doing a ton of camping this summer, and I got tall boy of Miller Lite. I like these like twist top. What's your take on these twist top caps? Like I don't know if they're 12 ounce, 16 ounce, the ones where you can, reseal them. Do you like those?
I do, but for the resealing aspect of it, but they're unsatisfying to open.
Fair.
They don't
fair.
make the or the crack. Like they just like it makes that kind of metal breaking apart noise. And it's like bleh. It's like opening a water bottle.
The only thing that's cool about this Miller Lite is it has the American flag on it, which is let's go, America.
America. It is still the 4th of July month, barely. You can tell how long someone's had beer in their fridge when they're like they still have the American flag stuff from like the 4th of July area. Like you have that in January, your beer's getting a little skunky.
That's a good point. All right. Drink those Miller Lights. All right. Here we go. Let's talk a little bit about, let's go micro to macro. Or is it macro to micro? Micro to macro. Let's talk about the Big Sky poll first, and then we'll get into the stats perform FCS. So let's see here. Let's get it up. There it is. So the Big Sky came out with their preseason MVP honors, all conference team, and we had some guys. Tommy Mellott, senior, Montana State, landed first team quarterback. That's no big surprise. An unconventional quarterback. We're going to talk about a ton about Tommy Mellott this year, but Thorny, I wanted your take real quick. Were you surprised to see him get the first team QB?
No. Well, a little bit, I guess. He's a senior, though. These things tend to lean heavily senior, but there's not like a big, huge returning, like obvious choice at quarterback. There's some guys who could, like Kiko Vesperis or Dante Chachere, but I mean, who else are you going to put? Miles Hastings with the Tim Plow down there at UC Davis could be an interesting combination, but there's not a lot of obvious QB talent right now, unless I'm missing somebody.
Yeah, it kind of feels like a weak QB conference right now.
Which is it's usually a very high QB conference. So I must be forgetting someone. Either that or just it's just a little void right now.
Well, who's the guy from Idaho last year?
Giovanni McCoy. Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah, McCoy.
So he's
gone.
He left a big gap.
Yeah.
Oregon State, right?
And for the first time too, like Montana State has QB1, not QB1A, QB1. There's no two quarterback system, and that's an interesting. I mean, and we're going to talk a lot about that too. There's some thoughts out there. So go check out Ty McCullough's interview from 406. He had some thoughts on that, right? He said it's about time because the two quarterback system didn't allow us to get into any kind of rhythm. So he's pretty stoked about that. So Montana State naming quarterback number 1. I mean, it was pretty obvious Tommy was going to be it. Who's going to be behind him? Jordan Reed? That's the big question I have. Is like, what happens when Tommy gets hurt? So anyways, I'm getting off tangent. Sorry.
Well, he's the best returning quarterback on the highest rated preseason team. Because the Grizz obviously are ahead of us in the polls, but they have like kind of a question mark at quarterback. They don't know who their starter is. So by default, like Tommy's like the best returning guy of the highest available team, or there is a returning guy.
All right. All right. I feel like we could just sit here and talk about all this stuff for about 2-3 hours, but we're gonna
It's going to
pace
be
it
hard
out.
to cram this into a short
Yeah.
time frame.
Yeah. Uh, hey, we got a fullback, Rohan Jones. Hasn't played a snap for Montana State, but he got first team honors. There was only two that you could vote for. Voting for the Montana State guy was an easy win right there. Let's see
We need him
here.
to be about 75% of Derek Snell, and we'll be fantastic.
Yeah, he's wearing number 8. He looks the part.
Is he? I
He's
wonder, is he doing that because is that like the fullback number now in Montana State,
Nah. Well, and, he's got
or the H back
in that
number?
fullback room. Like when you listen to Tyler Walker, he says, there's two type of quarterback. There's two type of players in that room, and Rohan is a mix of both.
Yeah.
And Snell was a mix of both too. So if he can be, like you said, if he can be 75% of Derek Snell, we're golden right there. So there was an interview with him that just came out today. It was fun to listen to him. The first time I got to hear him speak. All right, let's see. Marcus Ware. Offensive lineman, Montana State, highest rated offensive lineman in the nation last year, by all accounts, is the absolute alpha dog on the offensive line, which is crazy to think as he once was a defensive lineman and just tried to make his way out, basically somewhere and transformed his body, had to wake up in the middle of the night, eat protein shakes, slam protein shakes, eat eggs, all the fun stuff. He's poised to have an unreal season. He's on the first team, as well as Justice Perkins, 4-time starting center for Montana State, an underrated position right there, because you just don't see and hear a lot of dedicated centers. You hear a lot of like guards being pushed over to center, but Justice Perkins held down that spot for the last 4 years. Good for him.
Marcus Ware taking the Lewis Kidd route. Lewis Kidd was a
Yeah.
DL, right?
That's a good point, man. That's a good
I
point.
don't know why anybody thought there'd be a 6'6" DL, because I'm pretty sure he came to MSU at 6'6", but worked out offensively for him.
Yeah, I personally think, and we're biased here, but you probably could put most of Montana State's offensive line on the first team right there, and you could justify that.
It's crazy. Like we could talk about the offensive line for an entire episode. I think they're going to be really good. It's crazy to think how much talent we've lost in the last few years to like transfer portal and graduation. We're still probably going to have one of the best offensive lines in the conference, if not the country still.
It's really our key to success. Like the offensive line, like as good as they're going to be, is going to be as good as Montana State's going to be.
Yep.
Huge part of what we do. Alrighty. Let's see here. Defensive line, Brody Grebe, who is also the defensive MVP, preseason defensive MVP.
Bobcat Brody.
MVP. Yeah. Well-deserved. Happy for him. Gosh, there's some names on here where they're still, you're like, that guy's still around. Elijah Ponder for Cal Poly. He's on the defensive line. Let's see here. Who else did we get? Danny Yu got the nod at first team for Montana State. Do you know Danny Yu has 2 more years of playing after this? Or this year and next year? I thought he was capping out after this year.
No, I think that sounds right. I think he played a few games. It's going to be weird now with that freshman rule where you can play 4 games and still redshirt.
Yeah.
You're going to think back and like a guy played, but no, he played for like 4 games or something. It's going to mess with your head.
Also on the defensive side, the best number 26, according to the Hero Sports, Rylan Orr, defensive back.
Man, he's going to have a big season. He's primed, man.
Yeah, I just like a guy like back there who has that experience, who has that
size and athleticism.
Yeah, he's just a general back there. You need some guys like that, right?
He's a football guy, as they say it, right? He's a football guy.
Okay. Let's see. Specialist Brendan Hall, punter, who is, what I've been told in listening, is only doing punting duties this year. At least that's what we're being told.
Now, remind me how last season, not to dwell on the pain, was he demoted eventually at the end of the season? Did someone take over the place kicking duties?
Yeah, Casey Kautzman.
Did he take it over?
Kautzman.
Because I know Hall was doing it for a while. Like, they gave him the chance. I think that's part of the reason he came to MSU, because they gave him a chance, and yeah, it just didn't end up working out. And then Kautzman was marginally better. I know we have a Golden Coolie question about the kicking situation. It was not great last year.
Yeah, we'll get into that too. You know who is great and consistent? Tommy Sullivan, our long snapper. He's first teamer.
Man, guy never misses a snap.
No, he's so good. Alrighty. So those were the Big Sky accolades, and let's bump over to the 2024 Stats Perform FCS preseason All-American team.
You said it this
QB, who?
time. You said poll even once before in this episode. You keep calling these polls.
I know.
Anyway.
Who would you guess without even looking at it, or you might be looking at it? Who would you guess the quarterback would be? Best quarterback
First
in the
team
nation.
All-American quarterback?
Yeah.
I mean, probably Gronowski, right?
Yeah, guessed right.
I'm not sure he is the best quarterback, but he's like the winner. He's not the guy who's going to throw a bazillion yards, but he's a winner. He's a proven winner. He's gonna win a lot of football games.
Do we need Tommy Malott to be what do we need Tommy Malott to be for the Cats what Mark Gronowski is to South Dakota State?
No, I think they're pretty different players.
I could see some parallels. They're asking Tommy Malott not to be the extraordinary guy, the more ordinary guy this year. And to me, that feels a little bit more like Gronowski. Balanced run attack, balanced passing attack.
Gronowski's got a strong arm and a deep ball, and when he runs, he's like big enough and strong enough that he's not going to get taken out of the game.
I'm kind of tired of hearing about that guy too. I thought he was going to be gone. He refused purportedly like 6-figure deals from other schools.
You wonder how much of all that stuff is true?
Probably a lot.
Probably more than you think, but not all of it. Yeah. There's got to be some definitely like blowing some smoke to pump up your guy. Like, yeah, we convinced him to stay. Like, just we're going to put that out there in media, make it sound cool. You know, so there's some PR involved in that probably.
Sounds right. I don't know.
A lot of money Iowa, right? Iowa was interested in Gronowski, which frankly, that guy, he's an Iowa quarterback if I ever saw one. That's not a knock on him. He just plays that brand of football. Honestly, he's probably better. Iowa's had some real bad quarterbacks, some real bad offense.
I don't know. He's pretty good.
He'd be an upgrade. He'd be an upgrade to whatever Iowa's got going for sure.
Okay. Hey, there's Efton Chisholm III making a wide receiver for the All-American
Speaking
team.
of guys that feel like you've been hearing about forever.
You're right. So Montana State lands Marcus Ware. They list him at 6'4", 292. There's no way he's only 292. He got first team All-American. Well, good job, Marcus. So did Brody. So jumping over defense, we got Brody Grebe. And let's see. That's it as far as Montana State goes on first teams. Junior Bergen. Once Montana State commit. Speaking of guys, I don't want to hear about it anymore.
Audio engineer problems.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you start drinking beer on your podcast. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Second team. There's 3 of these teams, by the way. Tommy Malott, second team quarterback. Tied with Cam Miller out of North Dakota State. Who would you rather have, Tommy Malott or Cam Miller?
A healthy Tommy Malott.
Oh, there you go. If you said Cam Miller, we'd be doing the wrong podcast. Let's see.
I don't think Cam Miller is all that great.
No, he's not.
He's honestly, in a weird way, he's a poor man's Mark Gronowski.
Oh, wow, I was going to ask for a comp for that.
Just like big, strong guys that can run the ball and just have strong arms, but not real accurate arms. Seems to be kind of the game managers, but not also the best game manager. Cam Miller's towards the Bobcats, so it's easy to it's hard to criticize him too much. But
okay, let's see. I don't think we have anybody on the defense for the second team. Not seeing any guys right there. Special teams. Oh yeah, Britton Hall, second team punter.
They have a 6'9" on this. There's no way. Just keeps adding an inch every year.
Speaking of guys that are like 6'9", did you watch the little TV thing, the Golden Bobcat era or something that came out today on the Montana State basketball team?
I've consumed like no Bobcat content in the last like 5 months.
Oh man. Well,
Coming out of
here's
hibernation.
yeah, here's your host, Ryan Thornberg.
Fresh
Okay.
perspective. I'm not influenced by the media.
Okay. Third team. Let's see. We did land Justice Perkins on the third team. I think these third teams are just ridiculous.
I'm okay with third teams All Americans because All Americans a big, huge list. Third team All Conference. I was like, it's a smaller pool of players.
Let's see. Yeah. All right. So I think that's about it as far as we go. Kind of surprised that Tommy Sullivan didn't land on the All America list for a long snapper. He's been lights out.
Yeah,
So,
who's
anyways,
better than that?
yeah.
Nobody.
Am I trying to? Did I miss it? I don't know.
Nope.
Anyways, okay, there it is. Those are the preseason all conference awards, individual awards. I think that's it. Do you want to anything to add to that?
Just congratulations to Brody Grebe for being the preseason defensive MVP, man. I thought that was a huge accolade. I don't know if I was expecting that necessarily when I saw that announced. I think he earns it. I think he is. But I don't know. I just didn't think he'd get that kind of recognition, I guess. It seems like he's been under the radar his entire time here.
Well, I think the first year he came on, he was a third down specialist, and he lit it up. Like, I don't know if that was the year after Daniel Hardy or if that was the year with Daniel Hardy. I can't
I think
remember.
they shared a year. I think he benefited from Daniel Hardy eating up a lot of attention.
Yeah, and then the next year, you and I were a little bit critical of him. It got a little too pudgy, it looked like, and a little less explosive. Maybe Montana State was not using him in the best situation. And then, yeah, last year, did great. I
Stud.
think did he get hurt last year or was that the year before?
Hard to say. Hard to remember.
Yeah. Anyways,
I don't remember him being
he's
hurt for
prime.
any large stretches.
Yeah, he's primed to have a big year. Kenneth Hyden's probably going to have a really big year as well.
He's starting,
I
right?
love, yeah. Uh, what I've been told about the defense is, and what you're hearing when you're listening to these guys is they're just absolutely jacked, absolutely just primed to go. And the new confidence that Daly and Howe are bringing in as a coordinator, these guys just want to run through a wall for these guys. And so, man, if anything, Thorny, that's something that's got me really excited about Montana State football because I was not happy with the direction of our coordinators last year, and got some new blood in there. And I think Coach Daly could be a head coach someday. He'd be awesome head coach in my opinion. So to have him calling the shots on the defense, he's a legend. Let's go.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think the Cats have both coordinators being replaced, and that's not like deterring any preseason accolades, or no one's concerned about that nationally or anything. It's like, yeah, whatever, they'll be fine. Both coordinators. I don't know how often is it that you're replacing both coordinators in off season.
Probably for the FCS, if you're a successful team, probably pretty often.
I don't know.
Unless you're
It just seems like
you're Montana.
Yeah, it
who
seems
just
like
they
both
just
at
ride
the same
old
time
guys.
though. It just seems kind of rare.
Yeah.
So
you're probably
interesting.
right. All right, let's get into the meat of today. So we're not going to spend too much time talking Bobcat heavy. So, listener, you're going to have to tune in for some later episodes where we dive into the Bobcats. But we're just going to give you the thoughts on the Big Sky tonight, and then answer some golden coolies after that.
Sounds good. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll talk more about the Bobcats than we do anyone else. But yeah, we're going to kind of go backwards from the media poll, starting at number 12 for the media poll, go up to number 1, and then when we say number 12, the media poll picked Northern Colorado, which is true. Then we'll both say, well, I have this, and I have them finishing with this record, because we both penciled in the entire record of every single Big Sky school, which is a tedious process, but fun. It gives you a lot of insight to the conference, and you can sit there and say, well, I think, Eastern Washington's the 4th best team, but when you pencil out the schedule, that might tell a different tale. They might not finish 4th. So it's definitely like a schedule dependent. It's not like who we think is the best. It's more what's the actual order of finish.
Yeah, in the strength of schedules, who they play in the conference. So each of these teams play 8 conference games. They're not all playing the same conference teams. I mean, there's
Nope.
12 teams in the conference. It's so some of these teams have a relative cakewalk compared to others.
That's where the
We'll
Foley
talk about that.
algorithm comes into
Yes.
play.
All right. Okay. Thorny, why don't you drive this?
Number 12 from the media poll, Northern Colorado. Now, I'm going to use the conference record and the tiebreaker, the overall record. So dead last, I have also Northern Colorado finishing 2-10. It's a 12-game season. If anyone didn't know that, there's 12 games this year, and they're going to finish 2-10 overall and 1-7 in conference. That's what I got.
With Cal, exactly the same for me. They were 0-11 last year, so I have them. Let's go. I'm rooting for the Bears to get at least a win this year. I don't want to see you go 0-4 this year. Come on, let's go, Ed Lamb. Put these guys to work.
They're going to beat Abilene Christian at home and Cal Poly at home, and that's it.
I got Abilene Christian as a win as well, and then let's see. No, I have them being NAU.
You create. Well, who knows? Is
Second to last?
Is that in Greeley or
NAU
Flagstaff?
Yeah, it's in Greeley.
Okay.
Second to last game. I penciled in NAU.
I think NA is going to be pretty terrible too. I mean, Northern Colorado, man, like the McCaffreys left that in shambles, man. What a bad hire. I'm sorry. The publicity stunt was not worth it.
That was terrible.
That tanked they turned into a laughing stock even more so than they were. That was a bad season, bad stretch of Northern Colorado football history. But it's not going to get better anytime soon. I like Ed Lamb. I think it's going to take him more than 2 seasons to get that back on track.
Yeah. Well, he's got his work cut out for him for sure. I still contend that they need to drop down a conference or division, excuse me.
That probably is better suited. They're not the only team in the Big Sky that could benefit. Okay. Do you want to take number 11 or do you want me just to do the media poll? You said you want me to drive. Okay.
Yeah.
The media number 11, they have Cal Poly, which I have. Actually, why don't you take this one? So Cal Poly, number 11, who do you have at the 11th, second to last?
Gosh, man, this one was tough for me because Cal Poly, I don't have Cal Poly as my number 11. I'm gonna tease this out a little bit. Cal Poly, for some weird reason, only plays 11 games.
Yeah.
And no other team in the Big Sky Conference plays 11 games. We all play 12 games this year.
Cal Poly is just weird. Like, I don't want to lose again. We don't need to play 12.
I put, given another game to lose or another game to win, I actually have Portland State as my number 11 team.
Portland State.
I have Portland State. I know. You're Portland State, the middle of the pack all the time. And one of the teams you're like, oh, maybe they can make some noise. When I penciled them out, I'm predicting them to go 3-9 and 1-7 in the conference.
They have a hard schedule, man. I actually have them going 3-9 as well, but I have them going 2-6 in conference. So they're not as low in the conference rankings because they're going to beat Idaho State on the road and Northern Colorado at home. Wait,
all right. So
is that all I have? Oh, well, yeah. What the heck? Hold on, I got to reconfigure. Anyway, you talk while I figure this out. No, I have that's two. It's 2. Never mind. It's all right. I'm done.
As you can say, a little teaser is I have Portland State as the toughest conference schedule out of all 12 teams.
It's so brutal.
Yeah. I have one win in the conference, and I have them beating Northern Colorado the last week of the season. And then 3-9. So I have them winning against South Dakota. I think they're going to start off okay. And I actually have them beating Weber. So they play Weber second week of the season in a weird conference game, like right away. I think they're going to ride some momentum. They're going to come off a loss over in Pullman from Washington State. And then those are back-to-back wins, but then they got a lot of L's looking ahead.
So how many conference wins do you have them?
Just one.
You just said they beat Weber and Northern Colorado, though.
Oh, yeah. That math doesn't line up.
See the
Well,
spreadsheet over here, superior, because I got all these formulas calculating this stuff for me. So you have them finishing 3-9 and 2-6.
see what I did was because he played Weber in that weird spot
I
when I
know.
was looking through my
I had to
conference
like, why are they
games.
playing Weber right here? Where's their eighth conference game? And I
Yeah.
realized,
All
oh,
right.
it's way back up in September.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. So let's
Okay.
yeah.
So
Okay.
who do you actually have second to last then? Now that we've moved
So
Portland
that's
State up.
still only 3 wins for them. Cal Poly. Cal Poly I have predicted at 3-8 and 2-6 in the conference. So it would be pretty much chalk.
So for number 11, I have Idaho State, and the only reason that
What?
they're below Cal Poly is because they're the 12th game. Cal Poly will be 3-8. Idaho State will be 3-9, so they'll have one more loss.
Ooh, man.
I went through Idaho State's schedule, man. I don't like it. They're playing Oregon State. They're going to lose. Western Oregon. They're going to lose at North Dakota probably. They'll beat Southern Utah at home. Then they play the Bobcats. They're going to lose. Then they play at Cal Poly. They'll win. I have them losing to Portland State at home, so that could be a tricky one.
All right. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. I have Idaho State at number 9 in my poll. Let's go back to media poll real quick because we jumped ahead, or I don't know how this is going to line up, but the media has Idaho State as 8. Remember last year, Idaho State was a darling for a little while.
Yeah, and then their defense fell off the rails and gave up like 60 points a game down the stretch.
Yeah. Dan Hawkins' son had it going on. By the way, Dan Hawkins is on staff making like $12,000 a year over in Pocatello this year. I think he's like literally making like 12 to, or like it might be like $19,000. He's like an offensive analyst. You just couldn't hang it up. Cody Hawkins says, "Come on down, Dad. You want to be on the
Now
staff?"
that
And
I
he's
did
like,
not know. That's interesting. That might have changed some of my perspective a little bit. The elderly Hawkins on staff, just that's worth something.
"Is it?
I think so.
Yeah, maybe.
It's worth
Maybe,
it's
yeah."
worth another win over what I had.
So Idaho State, yeah, I got it beating Western Oregon. Is Western Oregon? Western Oregon's not even a FCS
No,
school.
they're
So
D2 still,
yes,
or maybe
and
even
then
NAIA possibly.
yeah, that's a good point. Southern Utah, I have them beating Southern Utah,
Yep.
and then I have them beating Portland State. Portland State's traveling to Pokey on that one, so yeah, 3-9, 1-7 in the conference. They're beating Portland State. That's who I have.
It's a tough schedule, man. They finish with Sac, Weber, Eastern, and Idaho, and 2 of those are on the road at Weber and Eastern. So it's a tough.
Depending on
ending.
I can't remember their quarterback, but he was a gunslinger last year, and they do have some pretty good receivers. Idaho State is a team that could beat anybody. They literally could. If you told me Idaho State knocked off the Grizzlies, I'd be like, yeah, I could see it coming. But they also could absolutely just be dog crap too. So
Yep, we'll see. They're definitely one of the teams, many teams that I have a complete question mark about.
all right.
Number 10, Portland State in the media poll is the 10th. So if I look over at mine, I got Cal Poly on that spot, finishing 3-8, 1-7.
Yep.
We already talked a little bit about Cal Poly. I don't need to say much more there. Paul Wolf's down there, right?
Paul Wolf. He used to be the coach for, you name it, any other team in the West. He probably was there.
Yeah, right. Including a brief stint at Washington State. Sam
Head
Heward
coach.
transferred out.
Yep.
So I think they're going to be a complete disaster again. All right. So number 9, according to the media poll, we have Northern Arizona.
See, I already have ISU, but I have Northern Arizona at 8.
So I'm lining up pretty well right now. I have Northern Arizona at number 9.
Number 9?
3-9, 2-6. They're playing, playing that Lincoln team again. Like that Lincoln team pops up in the Big Sky. Like I don't even know what state that's in or what division of football that's in, but it's not good. They popped up like 3 times. They played like 3 Big Sky teams last year.
Yep, I remember that.
But yeah,
then they win at Lincoln
or
Lincoln University, coming to Flagstaff. I also have wins with Utah Tech and Cal Poly.
I could see him beating Utah Tech. I could. I have that penciled as a loss, but it could happen. And then I have them beating Idaho State and then at Northern Colorado.
Ooh, I have them winning Idaho State as well. I forgot to see that, but yeah, I picked Cal
I
Poly.
have them losing at Cal Poly. It's one of Cal Poly's only conference win.
All right, all right, fair enough.
Number 8, I think we're on to. This is where the media has Idaho State. So I
See,
had them
have
second to
Arizona.
last, and they're 8th in the media poll.
All right,
But only 2 points above number 9, Northern Arizona. 2 votes, 2 points, whatever. So pretty bottom halfy we're talking here. All right, number 7, a team that we haven't talked about yet, Weber State.
and that's where I have Weber as well. Is at 7. They went 6-5, 4-4 last year. I'm predicting them to go 6-6 and 4-4.
That's really close to me. I had Weber State going 7-5 and 5-3. Where do we differ?
All right, so they're taking they're just going to start off with let's just go through the wins. My wins are they're going to beat Lamar. They're at Lamar. They're going to beat Lamar. They're going to beat Northwestern State. They will win against McNeese when McNeese goes to Ogden. They're going to beat the Battling Bears, Northern Colorado, when Northern Colorado comes to town. They are going to go to Flagstaff and win, and they're going to win against Idaho State and Cal Poly to finish off the year.
So I have them beating Portland State. Do you have them losing to Portland State?
Yeah.
Okay, that's about the only difference then. Yeah, I have my Weber State finishing 5th. Dead tied with Eastern Washington, and they don't play each other. So I don't know how a tiebreaker would work in my scenario. Not that it matters for who officially is 5th place. I have Eastern finished 7-5 and 5-3. We'll get to Eastern in a little bit, though. But this is a big year for Weber, man, I think.
Yeah, it is.
I think they could lose all that momentum that Jay Hill built in just a couple years with Mickey Mental.
Yep, exactly. Point taken. That's basically what I was going to say.
Yeah, it's interesting. Let's see. I mean, if they finish I think that'll be okay, but they're gonna have to make the playoffs again soon. Otherwise, like that's a school like that can build and build and build, and then like in 2 years it can be completely erased. So they just
what's concerning
don't have it
is
yet.
When you have a player like Abraham Williams, like all-time kick returner, punt returner specialist, and he transfers within the conference to Idaho.
He did?
Yeah.
I don't remember that. That's so funny.
Welcome back, Thorny.
Yeah. There'll be definitely some things I learn as we go through this podcast. So that was number 7. Who did I have at number 7? I don't think I said that. I just said where I have Weber State. I have UC Davis finishing 7th. Surprise.
Wow.
And it's a crazy way to get there, too. They're going to lose at Cal, and then they're going to win 6 games in a row. So they're going to be 6-1. And then they're going to drop 4 of their last 5, which is honestly just classic UC Davis. That's how 3 of their 4 last seasons have ended. They catch on fire, and then they falter, or they go like 0-5, and then win like 7 straight games, and then lose the final game to miss the playoffs. It's like tale of 2 halves. UC Davis, like they're on fire one half, and then trash the next. Not necessarily trash. Like they'll lose games by like 2 points, but they lose games. So they finish at Eastern, which I had penciled as a loss. Then they take a bye week, and then they play Northern Colorado. But then they finish at UM. Then they play Montana State, and then at SAC. I mean, I think they'll lose 4 of those 5 games.
Yeah. I don't have them going 6 wins in a row because I have them losing to Idaho because they're going to the Kibbie Dome, and so but then they're gonna rip off 3 more wins after that against Portland State, Cal Poly, and Eastern Washington. 4 more in Northern Colorado, and then they're going to finish off the season with 3 L's against the Grizz, Montana State, and SAC.
See, I have Idaho at home. I show them playing out.
God, that is a tough way to end the season for UC Davis.
Yeah. It is, man. Like I feel like they're going to be a good team, but they're going to just them's the breaks in the scheduling, man.
And then we both have them at 7-5 and 4-4. The most UC Davis thing ever, right?
I think they missed the playoffs in this scenario.
Depends on what else happens, right?
That's just
Like
yeah.
you can make an argument for 6 teams getting into the playoffs with the Big Sky Conference. I think we're heading there. I mean, the way the FCS is shaking out, you're gonna have 6 teams from.
It just might as well be the Missouri Valley football versus the Big Sky.
Yeah,
It's just
exactly.
not fun.
Throwing a Southland team or two, you know.
I hate to sound like all the the Power Five teams. This is how they talk about the college football playoffs. Like, what are they doing here? What is Boise State trying to get in here for? We're basically saying that about it. Like, what is William
All
and
right,
Mary trying to do in here? All
okay,
right. So that
get
was
back on
number
track.
7. Number 6, Eastern Washington by the media polls, which I have number 6 as well.
Same. All right, we're in congruence right there.
7-5, 5-3. I think also an prove it big year for Eastern. Just like Weber State, their best has got to get that program back to where it has been, or they're in danger of kind of not being able to get it back.
Yeah, they got one foot in like
1 foot in the grave.
the pool of nobody cares about you anymore. And the other one just kind of like slightly tilting that way. See, I got 7-5, 4-4. So they're splitting the conference wins on mine. My conference schedule for them goes they're gonna lose to the Grizz,
Yep.
they're gonna lose at SAC,
Yep.
they're gonna lose versus Davis.
Nope.
See, okay, there's our difference right there. They're gonna win. They're gonna win at Idaho.
You're
Idaho,
crazy.
yeah.
They're gonna lose
That
that game.
game is a fun game. Schedule, put that one on your to watch.
I learned
That,
my lesson last time. I thought Eastern was going to go into the Kibby Dome and win. They got boat raced.
uh, I don't know. I do like Jason Eck as a coach. He is like when chips are on when the chips are pushed into the middle of the table, like that guy will do anything to get a win. And I appreciate that about that guy.
Fair.
So yeah, you're right. They're gonna lose against us and they're gonna beat Northern Colorado and they're gonna finish the season with Idaho State with a win. Although Eastern would do the most Eastern thing, I could see Idaho State coming over to Cheney and like passing for 500 yards and finishing with a win right there. Easily, I could see that happening.
This is where Thorny gets roasted. I have Eastern beating us.
Beating us?
Yeah.
Why'd you even go there right now? Oh, because we're talking about Eastern.
I'm
I thought we were going to talk.
So that's one of their impressive wins on their little resume. So 7-5, 5-3, with the win against. I have them winning their last 4 games in a row, including the Cats. So they might make the playoffs in my scenario, but they're going to have a stretch where they lose 5 of 6 games in the middle, though.
This press, Efton Chisholm,
And I'll tell you why I have them beating the Cats when I get to the Cats.
Okay, sounds good. Let's
It
get back.
It doesn't make any logical sense.
All right, fair enough. Keep it going.
Do you think Kiko Vesperis is gonna have a good year?
Oh man, I don't know. I was thinking about that dude the other day, and then I remembered how much we like wrecked that guy when he came to Bozeman last year, and we just boat raced Eastern last year.
Yeah,
it was so awesome. Like when he went sideways, like I think we knocked him silly. I really do. I feel like he probably got a concussion that game because they eventually just kind of threw in the white flag and brought in somebody else, but he has potential. I don't know. Eastern's good when they have a pesky defense because they always got a good offense. They always can put up the numbers. But if their defense is crap, then they're not going to hold water.
they basically are a defense that typically just needs to create turnovers. That's the only way they get stops.
Eastern's like the 2015 Bobcats, 2014 Bobcats.
I don't know if they're that bad on defense. All right.
Would you still have Cramsey if you could? The offensive coordinator.
Tommy Malott and Cramsey offense could be fun.
Dakota Prukop was better than Tommy Malott.
Oh, well, you're going to catch some fire on that one. Yes and no. I think Prukop wasn't great when the game was on the line. That was his biggest knock, his only real knock.
Ooh, intangibles. I like it.
I think Tommy's got better intangibles. He's a better. I think he's more of a winner. Prukop was a fiery competitor. I don't think either one of them are more competitive than each other. I thought Prukop was extremely competitive, but he just couldn't make the throws when we needed him to, or couldn't make the plays. However, they may have worked out.
That just felt like an Ash team to me rather than a Prukop thing.
Could be. I think
Yeah.
Prukop would have
Anyways.
been a great Jeff Choate quarterback.
Yeah.
Tough,
Gosh, I haven't thought
strong,
about that one.
could run with the best of them, and had a huge arm, so he could hit those deep shots. I think he would have been everything that Jeff Choate wanted in a quarterback.
You mean Troy Anderson wasn't?
Love you, Troy. I hope I don't see you throw a football again, though.
All right. Okay. Moving on to number 5.
Number 5 in the media, Sacramento State, who I have higher than that. I have them at number 3.
I have Davis at 5. Foley's poll.
I have Weber State tied with Eastern Washington. So I don't know who tiebreaker there's, but
All right.
yeah, I have Sac State, man. I think Sac's going to be their schedule looks good. Their schedule looks really good. I actually think Sac kind of has a track record of beating FCS teams, so I think the FBS teams, I think they can beat San Jose State. I think they can. I mean, they beat Stanford last year.
Yeah,
San Jose State's garbage.
They have that ability to pull off an impressive win. I mean, Sacramento State's a huge school. It's in the public school system in California, and they pull a lot of players. They should always have a really good team.
Yeah, you'd think so. There's lots of talent that goes unnoticed, overlooked in that area. But between San Jose State and Fresno State on the road to start their season, I think they can take one of those two. Then they got Nichols, Texas A&M Commerce, and then at Northern Arizona, and then Eastern Weber at home, and at Idaho State and Portland State, and then at Montana State, at Cal Poly, and they finish at home with that. Is it the Causeway Classic against Davis? They're going to lose to Montana State and then one of the FBS schools. That's all I have. I have them going 10-2.
I do too. 7-1 in the conference. Yeah. They're number 4 for me.
They're going to lose to the Cats. That's it for the conference.
Yep.
And only because that's in Bozeman. If that was in Sacramento State, I would be a little more nervous about it.
Yeah. Favorable schedule for sure.
Yep. They're going to be the schedule benefit, and they're also good. I think they're going to be talented. So, yeah, they lose some big time playmakers, but they're bringing a bazillion transfers though.
Yeah. Well, they won a game in the playoffs last year.
They finally did.
That was it.
Of all the things to happen, Troy Taylor was not the guy who won a playoff game. That's just funny. Troy Taylor walked, so oh my gosh, who is it? What is his name? Sac State head coach could run. I don't remember his name. I'm usually pretty good at remembering coaches' names. I can remember the Sac State's coach.
Yeah, he played for the Grizzlies too. I was just thinking,
Andy Thompson?
Yeah, there it is.
Boom. Thank you. As soon as you said played for the Grizzlies, I'm like, oh yeah, Andy Thompson. Okay. So we're on to getting up there. Number 4, UC Davis, who had a first place vote. I think Davis can be really, really good. Yeah. I'm very intrigued by Miles Hastings coming back for a 6-year. Lan Larison, the offensive MVP of the conference, and Tim Plow coming in. I think their defense is usually pretty good. I think they could be really good, but they have such a tough end of the season. If they can win those last 3 games between the Grizz, MSU, and Sac, if they take 2 of those, they're going to be sitting real pretty. I think they drop all 3, though.
See, I think UC Davis is good. I don't think they're great. I'm not a huge fan of Miles Hastings. I know he gets a lot of people are, but he's a very average quarterback in the Big Sky. To me, Lan Larson, complete stud.
Well, if Larson stays healthy, he was not healthy the entire time.
I just think UC Davis has a really tough schedule during the end of the season, and in the eyes of a playoff committee, if you lose 3 in a row going down through late October through November, that's tough, man. That's tough. Let's see. here's my prediction. So they lose Sac, they lose to the Grizz, they lose to Montana State, and lose to Idaho. Conceivably, the top 4 teams in the Big Sky. Do they still get in if they win everything else? Maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, like I said, if we have 6 teams coming out of the Big Sky, 5 teams coming out of the Big Sky, again, they're on the UC Davis. They should call it the UC Davis bubble because this is where they're always at. I felt that they got robbed last year.
They did.
I feel for them.
But it's going to happen again.
Davis just needs to go to a different conference too. Like, just get out of the Big Sky. Like,
yeah,
like,
not drop down.
quit
Though.
holding on.
Just some other
Yeah.
better suited conference of equal playing, which there isn't. There's no Western Conference FCS conferences anymore.
Yeah.
Number 3, Media, Idaho. I have Idaho at number 4.
I got them at 3.
8-4, 6-2.
Let's see. I got them 9-3, 7-1.
They have a tough 2 FBS games on the road. Oregon's going to get murdered by Oregon. They have a chance to beat Wyoming, but I think they lose that game.
Same.
Because they're just replacing too much. They might get it rolling eventually. I think it's going to take some time to figure it out. Then they got kind of a favorable schedule. I think they lose at Davis, and they lose to the Bobcats. And then the rest of it's pretty favorable. I think they win out after that.
So Albany's coming back. Albany went to the QB Dome, and I think that's
right. That's the team that knocked them out of the playoffs. I forgot about that.
So
yeah, they're not going to lose to Albany. They're going to murder them. If anybody's going to play up the revenge angle of something, it's going to be Jason Eck.
Yeah, right. I have them going 7-1 in conference. Only lost to us.
I can see
in
that.
Conference, they play Davis, NAU, at MSU.
Remember that Davis game's on the road, though. You said, at least I have it on the road. You said it was at home earlier.
Sorry. Yeah, I didn't put at.
If that changes anything for you.
Eastern goes to the QB Dome. They play at Portland State, and Weber comes to town.
Yep.
And then they finish Idaho State. They don't play. What about these protected rivals? Where's the Grizzlies there? Right?
Shoot, I didn't even think about that. What's up with that?
Right?
I forgot about that. Aren't they supposed to be? Yeah, that's crazy.
Does Bobby Howe get to keep the little brown stein just on, or does it go halfway between University of Washington or the University of Montana and Idaho? Where would that be?
Idaho fans, Grizz fans, Dylan? Hit us up. Tell us why you guys aren't playing this year. I didn't even. That's funny.
Yeah, I thought the protected rivals. I thought they were protected rivals.
That was the whole point of it. The whole point of the protected rival.
Mm-hmm.
The team you play every year. That's the friggin' point of it. Maybe they're not protected rivals anymore. I don't know.
Mm.
So Idaho, number 3. Man, I'm very curious to see how Idaho's going to be this year.
Probably pretty good. I like Jason Eck. I don't know if he's going to stay at Idaho for long. Like, if he has another winning season, I could see him chasing some money. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, for sure. Strike while iron is hot, and he's a guy who would do that. But they're replacing Giovanni McCoy, Hayden Hatton, and Anthony Woods.
Correct.
That's a lot of firepower. That's a lot of firepower.
I also think the Big Sky's not that great this year. I think we're like, I don't think this is a year where the overall talent level of the Big Sky is overwhelming. I think we're good.
Well, the problem is you don't know that, though, because there's so many transfers, so you don't know if there's a star who's not even taking a snap yet, because there's going to be 3 to 6, 7 FBS players on every roster, like new FBS players, or even new FCS players. There's a lot of transferring between FCS programs now.
Yeah, it's all weird, man.
It's all weird.
It's
hard to keep track of. So qualifiers, like some of these teams have so many transfers, like you don't even know really how they're going to be. It's hard. It's almost harder to predict with so many new faces, like every year with this transfer portal business. Number 2, your Montana State Bobcats, who only got 9 first place votes. The Grizzlies have 26, so a little bit of disparity in first place votes. I have the Cats biased hat here, winning the conference, going 11-1, 7-1.
Same. You have us losing to Eastern, though.
Because I had to have us lose to somebody. When I'm looking at that, I'm like, we can't possibly go 12-0 because I think we can beat New Mexico. I think we finally get that FBS monkey off our back. And then who else is beating us?
You won't guess who I have beaten
You
us.
better not say the Grizz.
No.
Idaho? Are we losing to Idaho?
No.
Okay. Well, then...
Davis.
It's on the road, the last... second to last game right before Cat Grizz, so there's definitely a trap element to that. But that's late season Davis, man. What are they talking about? They're gonna slide. Lane Larson will be hurt.
Let's see. I probably penciled in Davis with a loss to us too. Yeah, I did that. So somewhere I screwed up. But anyways, yeah, that's what. But see, even by my notes here, I see a little eraser mark at Montana State where I was like, I have to give them a loss somewhere. And I'm like scratched out, and the win right there put the loss at Davis.
I mean, when I penciled it out initially, I'm like, can the Bobcats go undefeated? I think they can. And I didn't think that before I actually looked at the schedule and wrote it out. I didn't have a number in my head, but I don't know, just going undefeated seemed kind of crazy because that's just not something that happens hardly ever in the FCS period for any team.
Montana State has a tough schedule towards the end. They finished with Eastern, Sac, Davis, and the Grizz.
It's tough, yeah. I mean, I really don't know how Eastern's going to be. I just don't like the fact it's in Cheney.
Gosh, it feels like we always play in Cheney. I know what didn't happen last year, but it
really does. But typically, historically, you want to play Eastern later on because if they're bad, they usually just completely fold.
Yeah,
and they're not even playing football anymore. Not a real mentally strong program when things are going south. But we'll see. I think Eastern's going to be competitive, so I think it'll be a game in Cheney. I don't know. It's going to be a tough one. We'll see how healthy the Bobcats are at that point, too.
Yeah.
Well, coming off a bye week, so that's big. We got a bye week right before Eastern, so that could help. All right, you have the Cats winning the conference, same as me. So you probably have the University of Montana Grizzlies number 2. Tied with Sac State. I have tied.
No. So the media poll has number 1 University of Montana. I also have University of Montana number 1 as well.
Oh, you do? Okay. So So if the Cats are 11-1, do you have the Grizz going undefeated? What do you got going there?
No. So it's basically, it's a tie. I have them going 11-1 as well because they have.
Well, it's not a tie if we have a head-to-head and we win. We're number 1.
Yeah.
Assuming you have the Cats being the Grizz, which you said you did, therefore the tiebreaker is there.
Okay.
We win the conference.
Fair enough.
Booyah!
So okay, Cats win. I'll go with that. 11-1 for the Grizz, 7-1 in conference with a loss to Montana State.
Yeah, that's all I have. I have them losing at North Dakota, which could be completely crazy, but they're going to be still kind of sorting out their quarterback situation. It's on the road, and they've historically had some weird games on the road against Missouri Valley Football Conference teams in the out of conference. So I could see him dropping that game, but I could see him just destroying North Dakota as well, because North Dakota I don't think is going to be very good. It just could be one of those weird games where they have a hard time on the road, and then they basically don't lose again until they play the Cats. Big string of wins. Pretty easy schedule for the Grizz.
All right, man. Can I talk about the strength of schedule algorithm, my little magic that I put forth every year?
Yeah, so why don't you start who has the toughest and work your way down?
All right, well, just let me put it this way. This is how I do this. My algorithm is this, and I think I stole it from someone. It might have been Coulter Nuanez back in the day. So the preseason prediction poll from the media. So the UM was number 1, Montana State number 2, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I go through the conference schedule, And if you play Montana State, you get 2 points. If you play Northern Colorado, you get 12 points. So, and then I take the sum of all the games that you play in the conference, all 8 games. So, as you probably could predict, if you're following along, if you have a high score, that means you're playing the teams at the bottom of the poll. And so you're going to have an easier path. If you have a lower score, you're playing teams who have a higher ranking, and it's going to be hard. The number one team with 42 points, who has the toughest schedule, is Portland State. They have the hardest road through the Big Sky Conference based off of the media poll predictions, uh, how those were labeled out.
Can I talk to you real quick?
Sure.
I'll do a sidebar. I had this in my notes. I didn't really see anything. If the Portland State finishes where we think they are, is Bruce Barnum fired? He hasn't made the playoffs since that first interim year we went 9-2. He has 8 straight losing seasons.
Hot take. Portland State doesn't fire Bruce Barnum. Bruce Barnum takes a position on with Bobby Hauck, and they just they right off into the sunset in the next couple of years.
That is probably accurate.
Okay. I want to get through this pretty fast so we can get to the Golden Coolie questions. All right. So Portland State has a score of 42, hardest schedule. Next is Eastern Washington with a score of 44. After that, we got Cal Poly with a score of 49. MSU comes in with the 4th hardest schedule in my algorithm.
And that's just conference, though.
Just conference. Yeah, this is just conference with a score of 49. And to note, I did not take points or half points. I considered taking half points if it was a home game or if it was a away game. I just left all of that off the algorithm. I just said this is just based off of media poll rankings and the sum of that. So this has nothing to do with who's playing who, where, just who's playing who. All right. So Montana State with the 4th hardest schedule. Right after that, we have Northern Colorado, UC Davis, NAU. Okay, so let me back up real quick. So when we go back to Montana State, Montana State had a score of 49. Both Northern Colorado and Davis have both the same score of 50 in my algorithm.
Pretty close. We're all in kind of the same grouping there.
Okay, and then ISU and NAU share the same score of 53, so you could have those back to back. So the 4 easiest schedules go as follows. Sac and Idaho both have a score of 57, so you could flip-flop those two. Weber has a score of 59, and the easiest schedule through the conference with the score 60, Montana Grizzlies.
Yep.
Here is who the Grizz play through the conference schedule, just in case you wanted to know. And remember this, guys, as they start touting, oh, Montana, they're so good. They have the easiest schedule. They're playing at Eastern versus Weber versus NAU, at Northern Colorado, at Cal Poly, versus Davis, versus PSU, and at MSU.
I mean, they just roll up the bottom of the conference there. Who are they missing? I guess they're not playing Idaho State. That's the only bad team that they're not playing.
Oh, and the only tough games are, well, they got Davis coming to Washington, or they're at Davis. No, excuse me. They got Davis coming to Washington Grizzly Stadium, and then they're gonna wax Portland State,
and then they're at Eastern early in the season. When, like I said, if Eastern's
don't have
good, they're still. That's the time you don't want to play Eastern in Cheney, where they still have hope.
They have to travel to Northern Colorado, so they got to play in the weirdness that is Greeley. But I don't think
that's coming off a bye week, so there could be some weird bye week weirdness after having 2 straight home games, then a bye week. There's going to be then you go to the lowest energy stadium in the conference for a team that feeds off energy. Like I don't know, you never know.
No, but so the national pollsters will be like, "Oh man, the Grizzlies! Look at them. They're on a hot streak. Of course they are. They play the easiest schedule. So they seem to do this a lot, man.
I think they won't have a ranked win until UC Davis.
Ooh,
because Eastern might be ranked, but I have them starting 2-2. So they might fall out of the top. Because if they are ranked, they're going to be low. I think Weaver will be top 25. But I
You
have
don't
Weaver.
think North Dakota's going to be ranked?
No. I think
They gotta be in the top 25.
I think they're picked like 6th in the Missouri Football Conference.
They're still got to be in the top 25.
Maybe.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're gonna have a bad resume, as they say.
All right.
For sure. No matter how you slice it. Especially if they lose to the Cats. They'll have like 0 signature wins. I think the Grizz will have 0 wins over a playoff team.
But we'll hear it. How Bobby Houck crafts the momentum throughout the season. The narrative, I can already hear it in my head, man. Oh,
Yeah. Well,
all right.
let's not get into that.
No.
All right.
Alrighty.
So that's how we finish. So to recap for me, I got Montana State winning the conference at 7-1, 11-1 overall. The tiebreaker between the Grizzlies is going to be the fact that we beat an FBS squad and finished 11-1. The Grizz will be 10-2, 7-1 right behind on our heels. SAC will be also 10-2, 7-1. So that's an interesting. They don't play each other. So I'm just thinking for tie-breaking purposes for my poll. It doesn't really matter. Number 4, Idaho. Then I got number 5, Weber State. Number 6, Eastern Washington. Number 7, UC Davis. Number 8, Portland State. Number 9, Northern Arizona. Number 10, Cal Poly. Number 11, Idaho State. And then dead last, Northern Colorado Bears.
Battling Bears. All right, Thorny, quick question before we move on from this. Give me a team in the bottom half that you wouldn't be surprised would make the top half at the end of the season.
Does number 7 count as bottom half?
Yeah.
Well, then UC Davis. That's who I have finishing 7th. That's an
Okay.
easy one from my poll.
Mine is going to be Idaho State. They have a pretty easy schedule. I'm just kind of rooting for him too a little bit. I like the Hawkins. I like Cody Hawkins. I think he had some momentum last year, and then, like you said, they kind of came off the rails at the very end. But they can do some stuff. All right. So Foley's poll, he has the Montana State Bobcats winning it. The Grizzlies, conference tie,
losing the tiebreaker to the Bobcats. The Grizzlies
losing the tiebreaker. Yeah, I got the Vandals 3rd, SAC 4th, Davis 5th, Eastern 6th, Weber 7, Northern Arizona 8, Idaho State 9, Cal Poly 10, Portland State 11, and Northern Colorado 12. But with a win, 2 wins this year.
I mean, it's an improvement, I guess.
Can't go 0-11. Can't go 0-11 or 0-12 this year.
All right. Well, there you go. The R&R. I wonder if we aggregated those together, what it would end up being. That sounds like too much work, but we're roughly on the same page for most of it.
All right. We'll do it again next year. All right. Let's get into the Golden Coolie questions.
All right. You got Bobcat Nation up.
All right. I'll start us off.
Do you hear me right now?
Yeah, man. I got you.
You've been talking like you're not hearing me, at least in my head.
Yeah.
So anyway, go ahead. If you got
let's see. Bleeding Blue says, what do you expect from the Northern University of New Mexico game?
I want to say that we win that one. I think it's hugely important when you're talking about seeding down the line, because if we win that game, it allows us to drop like a conference game or some other random game throughout the season and not kill you. That when losing to Wyoming that one year, killed us in the seeding. If we had won that game, it'd have been a whole different narrative.
Well, we went to the national championship.
Was that the same year?
Too.
Was it the same year?
Yeah.
What am I thinking that we had a close loss then? Who else have we played? Well, either way.
I'm thinking of South Dakota State from last year.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever it is, it helps you in the seeding. Just another win on the resume. So I just think it's hugely important when we're talking about trying to jockey for those top 4 seeds.
No, if we lose that game, it's going to be a lot of concern in Bobcat land.
No, I don't think there should be, though.
Well, I mean, Bronco Mendenhall is a reputable coach. He's a first-year coach over there. So people will talk about them, and he is a dude, but they haven't been good. And I think they were picked sixth in their conference or something like that. Something, don't quote me on that, but Montana State should win. And if we don't win, it's going to be ah because there's the expectations are really high for Montana State right now. So yes, all of that.
All right, that's a perfect segue into the other question I have that we received. Where is it? Nick Deal on Twitter asks us, the New Mexico game opened with the Cats favored by 4.5 and quickly moved to 7.5. Would it be a failure? And would the optimism of the season get totally squashed if we lose to an FBS team? We kind of just touched on that. I don't think so. But it is crazy that we're favored.
Yeah. I just think people overreact to everything right now because everybody just wants instantaneous whatever. Like everybody's addicted to instantaneous news or phones. They want satisfaction now. Cats lose. Oh my gosh, season's over.
I don't think it'll be that way. I mean, if we get crushed and look like absolute dog crap, then sure.
We won't. There's no way we get crushed.
No, I don't think there is.
We're not playing like Ohio State.
Well, we're not a team that really
Oregon.
gets crushed. I mean, not in that environment anyway. All right, let me
play
ask
ball
one more.
Control.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to be all right.
Brendan Henshaw on Twitter asks us, with how many seniors we have on our team, what do we need to accomplish to consider the season a success? Is it natty or bust? Big question.
This is a great question because this is a topic you and I have kind of talked about a little bit, just back and forth. We're to the point now where Montana State has so much success and fans are expecting this. Like, I think it is semifinals or bust.
That's about where I am. We can't lose like we did last year. No. I'm not sure it's natty or bust. Now, we do have when you look at the starting roster, there's a lot of seniors on there. Mm-hmm. So it is kind of and all year last year before the season started, everyone was talking about 2024 is going to be the year, right? We're going to be good in 2023, but it's all building toward 2024. But, the transfer portal kind of wrecks that a little bit. So I don't think it's natty or bust, but Tommy's last year, man, if we don't make it to the semifinals, I think it will be a disappointment.
Gosh, I just started thinking about 2025. A little bit of anxiousness swept over me.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit different. Different look.
What's the offensive line going to look like?
Yeah, we'll be fine. We're always fine on the O-line.
Yeah, all right. Okay, let me get one in. Colorado Cap. Which game besides Cat Grizz will show us who this Bobcat team is and how far they can go into the playoffs?
That's a great question.
He says UC Davis.
I think that's a solid answer.
Yeah.
In fact, I would almost say I'd almost say that's the same answer. Well, actually, I might even say the Grizz.
No, he said besides the Cat Grizz.
Oh, before the Cat Grizz. Okay. Then I would say probably at UC Davis or the week before at home against Sac State, especially if I think we're going to lose Eastern Washington, then coming back home and bouncing off of a loss like that against a team that I think is going to be really good in Sac State. I think that will be a game that can kind of, it's late in the season. We could be dinged up. Like, how good are the Cats that late in the year coming off a loss in my schedule? I think it'll be hugely important. Sac at home.
My vote's for when Idaho comes to town. ESPN, 8:15 at night. Big Sky After Dark. I want revenge on these MFers so bad.
But will that show? Is that the defining game for how far we go in the playoffs? It's Idaho?
A defining game for Ryan Foley.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's all that matters on this podcast.
Yeah,
the opinions of the two hosts.
Yep. All right.
Dan, my man on Twitter, who is one player on defense and one player on offense to keep your eye on throughout camp? Exclude anyone named to the preseason All-American or All-Conference list if possible.
Oh, man. This is a good question, and I've been thinking about it today, but I still don't have great answers. I'm going to start off with the offensive player. I'm going to go Taco Dowler. I feel like Taco Dowler is primed for something this year. We're talking about Lanata. We're talking about Ty McCullough. We're talking about the new guy from, what's his name? I can't even remember. We got a new guy from Georgia somewhere. He played at Georgia Tech.
Wide receiver?
Anyways, yeah, wide receiver. Something Ryan. I think Ryan's in the name.
Oh,
Should know
yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah. See, I've been in the hibernation. Like
Ryan.
I'm gonna do more research here.
There it is. Well, it was there. Ryan King? Yeah, Ryan King, ECU transfer. Anyways, I think Taco Dollar. I think he's primed to make a splash.
And the guy I've been excited to see and just hasn't, wasn't able to play last year is Lanyata Alexander.
Okay,
I'm very interested to see how we use him, his size, his athleticism. I'm pretty curious. I'm also really interested to see Ty McCullough kind of break out a little bit.
Yeah. Another guy that on the offensive side of the ball comes to mind, Rohan Jones. I want to see him.
Yes.
Scotchy Humphrey comes to mind. Adam Jones comes to mind.
And if Scotchy Humphrey can learn some patience, that guy's explosive as it comes.
Okay. Defensive side of the ball. Name that comes up right away in my brain is a guy that didn't play last year because of injury, Zach Black. He's going to be back in the mix. Paul Brott is going to be in there.
Yep.
John Johnson again. Can John Johnson continue his lockdown on the side? Can Simeon Woodard have his senior year that he wants to have? Can Ryland Ort be the preseason all-conference guy that we think he can be?
Okay, so everybody.
The biggest questions I actually have is our linebacking core. Outside of Danny Yu, pensioned to get hurt, right? So if he goes down, Mikhail Riley quietly is his senior. Who's coming up behind him? We got Bryce Greeby. We have Neil Daly. Big questions in the linebacker core for me.
So who's your pick to break out? You just named every single player on the defense.
Man. I know.
Good job. I'm going to pick Mikhail O'Reilly because you were able to lay things out in front of me. So I'm like, he's the guy we haven't seen a whole lot necessarily, and he's coming into the starting role. So I'm going to pick Mikhail O'Reilly.
I'm going to go Alex Eckert, Washington State transfer. I saw his biceps today. He's like 265.
I forgot about him. It's been so long since I really paid attention. He's a Wazoo transfer, so yeah, weight room king. Can it translate? I forgot about him. Was he even on the 2 deep?
I don't know.
I don't think he was. I don't think he was. I think it was Zach Black, Paul Brott.
Let's take a look.
Blake Schmidt, and who else is there?
Oh man, Blake Schmidt's interview. Okay, yeah. So they got Blake Schmidt starting at the nose, and they got Alec Eckert.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
I glanced through the starting lineup, and I guess it didn't stand out to me. I just kind of spaced out that he was a FBS transfer. All right, well, the defensive line should be pretty solid.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like O'Reilly, man. There's some pedigree there with the O'Reilly name. Love it. He's a senior?
I know.
How?
Right?
How's his senior?
I don't know, dude.
I guess that's what happens when you don't play 4 games as a red shirt and you just actually go through your college as a normal person and graduate in 4 years. Is that what's happening here?
I know. Simeon Woodard has played all 4 years. All of a sudden, he's a senior. You're like, what? Simeon's a senior? He's got to have another year.
That seems right to me. He's played a lot of football anyway. It went fast, but he's played a lot of football.
Okay.
Or
fair enough.
Mikhail O'Reilly really hasn't.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
You
got any more on BN?
Bobcat Nation. Let's see. Oh man. Well, I'm not there. Do you got something? Give me a moment.
There was one more. What are your thoughts as Coug fans on the Pac-12's demise? Will they, won't they, of the P12 and Mountain West Conference? I know there's a scheduling alliance, but both parties seem wary of each other. A very interesting question, but I don't know. I don't really know enough about all that stuff going on. And I'm no longer a Cougs fan, by the way.
Can you repeat the question for me real quick?
What are your thoughts as Coug fans on the Pac-12's demise? The will they, won't they of the P2 and Mountain West Conference? I know there's a scheduling alliance, but both parties seem wary of each other. So you're talking about Oregon State and Washington State, or?
Yeah, I think the
P2.
Pac-12 is going to be remade with part of the Mountain West. I think that there's a chance too that Montana State, University of Montana, have a chance at being in the Pac-12. I know that's a crazy thought to come across, but why not? If the Pac-12 is going to rise up like a phoenix from the ashes, let's get Montana and Montana State in that.
Or some kind of new look Mountain West Conference where there's still some decent teams left over in there.
Well, see, here's why I think Montana State fits the Pac-12, because Pac-12 has generally been a high academic conference, and so I think Montana State can fill that. And the growth of Bozeman, the future trajectory of the campus, and the everything that goes around Montana State, basketball success, by the way, it fits. So
it would have to look like the rest of the conference. Like, what is in the rest of that weird new Pac 10, 12, 8, whatever the number ends up being? If you're in a conference with Oregon State and Washington State, like that's already kind of exciting.
It is. It really is, man. So, all right, we got one more from Longtime Cat says, which home game besides the Cat Grizz do we have the best chance to lose, or at least it's close? And which receiver becomes Tommy's go-to guy in this season?
So, which home game might we lose?
Yeah.
The Grizz. I mean, Idaho and Sac are a couple tough choices there.
Sac.
I know Catgers at home seems like a slam dunk. It's been a while since we've lost there, but I don't know. It's a tough game. It's going to be a tough game. I think the Grizz are going to be rolling. They got all the momentum going.
Yeah.
Patented momentum TM.
You're probably right. I mean, if we had some truth serum, the Grizzly game would be the most challenging for sure.
I mean, it's the hardest game on the schedule.
But did he say beyond the Cat Grizz? Oh, he did say.
He did?
Yeah.
Everyone's got to put that qualifier in on us. Okay. Well, I'm going to pick Sac then.
Yeah.
Similar to the other question you answered.
Idaho, so right.
Idaho, tough.
And the last question, the one we're going to close it out on was who's Tommy Malotte's favorite target this year?
Taco Dowler.
Damn it, that's the one I was going to say. Okay, so Lanata.
Ty McCullough actually is my second choice.
Yeah, Ty McCullough, man. I love the speed. And do yourself a favor, go check out 406 interview with Ty McCullough, because he just says it straight up, man. He doesn't hold back.
And Tommy's got to not underthrow Ty McCullough. He's fast, and I remember him underthrowing. He keeps throwing. He likes to throw those balls where our receivers have to come back and like jump over a guy, like the Lance McCutcheon ball. Just put it way out in front and let Ty get to it.
Yeah, is Tommy the worst interview you've ever listened to?
My honest opinion is I don't listen to a ton of player interviews because they just don't really get me going. And he's not a great interview. Troy was a terrible interview. Troy was real bad. Honestly, I feel like most college players are pretty bad interviews. There's rare exceptions. Those are the ones that are like, all right, he's funny and he's camera ready. Like Zach Minter, like some of those old guys like that, or Ty McCullough. But there's just like most of them are just not fun to listen to me.
Well, MSU loves it because MSU, like, they know when he gets in front of the camera, he's going to say all the right thing. He's just going to be so polished and all that. It's just so boring because he doesn't say anything interesting. It's so predictable.
This is what it
all
is.
Right.
It's fine.
Yeah. All right. Well,
he's not here to do interviews.
I know which one I want to pick. It's I think it's Dan, the one with the breakout player.
Okay. All right, that's Danny. I'm pretty sure he's got one, but hey, good job. Thanks for the question. You can nominate someone else to get it if you already have one, or you could just have another one. You can have another one. It's okay to have two. It's okay. So you can double fist it.
In your camping bin. There you go.
That's probably a smarter use of it than drinking 2 beers at once. Or cold beverage. Doesn't have to be beer.
I think we did it.
We did it. And now I have to do the outro.
Right,
you nailed your intro on the first one in a long time, and I wasn't even prepared. I didn't even think about this. But all right, Well, thanks everyone for coming back to us, for checking us out once again. Hopefully, if you're new here, you enjoyed the content. A little bit Big Sky heavy on this one. That's kind of how we start off, and then slowly it's going to turn into pure Bobcat goodness. Check us out on the web, rrcatcast.com. You can always find us on Twitter, rrcatcast, Instagram, rrcatcast, email, rrcatcast@gmail.com. And a little plug here, you can find us at, is it Ko-fi? I haven't said this in a while. That's our kind of Patreon kind of thing we do, the Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/rrcatcast. If you want to support the show, there's some subscription tiers there and get some goodies. Check that out. And Foley, let's just get out of here, man. Go Cats.
Go Cats.
Go Cats.